Assalamu alaikum and hello to my non-Muslim viewers. Today I'm going to be talking about something again that has absolutely nothing to do with religion at all. I'm going to be talking about my favorite Star Wars movie, Revenge of the Sith, in honor of Star Wars Day, which is today. Revenge of the Sith is, in my opinion, the greatest Star Wars movie. It even, in my opinion, beats The Empire Strikes Back. Now, a lot of people will have different opinions about, Revenge of the Sith versus The Empire Strikes Back, or the original Star Wars and New Hope, etc., etc. I mean, I'm not here to debate what's better. This is just my opinion. This is just an opinion piece of me. I think Revenge of the Sith was the best Star Wars movie. Now, you might be saying, well, Revenge of the Sith is the prequel trilogy, and the prequel trilogy doesn't hold up to the original trilogy. And that's true. There were a lot of problems with the prequel trilogy, but I don't think it's fair to put Revenge of the Sith in the same category as The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. I think Revenge of the Sith is way better. People had problems with that Pacific scene, but thankfully, scenes like that in dialogue, in bad dialogue, is rare in Revenge of the Sith. It's not as prevalent as it is in The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. So Revenge of the Sith is a really good movie. Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, it's still a good movie. It's still an entertaining movie. You'll be entertained regardless of whether you're a Star Wars fan or whether you're just bored and want to see a random movie. It's still entertaining. The things I really liked about Revenge of the Sith was the whole. It felt like it connected. It felt like it was the backstory we needed to explain 4, 5, and 6. I didn't find any major problems with this movie. The only problem I had was Darth Vader wasn't in it enough. And another problem I had with this movie was they didn't show Darth Vader's red lightsaber, his Sith lightsaber. They didn't show it, but that's just me personally. I loved Revenge of the Sith. I thought it was one of the best movies I've ever seen. I remember me and my friends, we all got together and we saw it, and we saw it even before it opened. We saw it like the Thursday showing. I think it was opening on Friday, and we saw it either Thursday or Wednesday. I don't remember. I don't remember the exact day, but I think it was. I think it was Thursday we saw it, and we absolutely loved it. We were talking about it like all night. That after we saw the movie, we were talking about it all night. We absolutely loved Revenge of the Sith. We thought it was like the best movie of the year back in 2005. But I absolutely love Star Wars Episode 3. Another thing I really loved about Revenge of the Sith, which not a lot of people talk about, was the whole Yoda versus the Emperor. I absolutely loved that fight, and I liked the way how George Lucas was trying to show that Yoda was clearly the better person than the Emperor. Remember when the Emperor is doing his Force lightning and Yoda is absorbing the Force lightning, and he's not gloating or anything. Yoda's just humbly taking the energy. That shows that Yoda is the better person than the Emperor. He's not gloating or being arrogant like the Emperor accuses him of being when he goes to the guard room. I really love that scene with the Emperor fighting Yoda. I thought it was one of the best action sequences like I've ever seen in any movie ever, not just Star Wars. So like how that scene explained how Yoda lost his lightsaber. Remember when the Emperor is throwing his Force lightning? You know what? I'm just going to show the clip of Yoda losing his lightsaber. scene was one of my favorite scenes ever, and I like the fact that Yoda is just too exhausted to fight the Emperor, and he just leaves. I thought that explains a lot. I also like the whole Darth Plagueis backstory that Palpatine tells Anakin in the Opera House. I thought that was a really interesting backstory. That is Palpatine's backstory. It really expands the Star Wars universe, kind of how. In the original trilogy in 4, 5, there's in 4, 5, and 6. There's a backstory of Anakin Skywalker, but we don't get to see any flashbacks. We just hear Obi-Wan and the Emperor and Yoda talking about the Jedi and Anakin Skywalker, but we don't get to see any flashbacks. But and I like how Revenge of the Sith actually tells a backstory, continuing the Star Wars backstories tradition found in 4, 5, and 6, found originally in 4, 5, and 6. Performances in that movie was not Ian McGregor or Yoda's performance, or Natalie Portman's or anything like that. To me, the best performance was Emperor Palpatine's performance and General Grievous' performance. I really liked how there's the movie's like kind of split in half with the whole separatist movement and the main villain of the separatist. I really like the fact that they have General Grievous as the main villain in the first half of the movie, and then they get rid of. I like the fact that General Grievous is the villain. I really like General Grievous as a villain, and I really like the fact that they got rid of Count Dooku very early on in the movie. I was never a fan of the Count Dooku character, and I like the fact that Anakin kills him at the very beginning of the movie. So and then there's Emperor Palpatine, who's the villain in the second half of the movie. So I like the fact that they split I really like the fact that they split the whole villains of General Grievous and Emperor Palpatine. I also like the fact that they show that the Order 66, they show the Jedi being killed by Emperor Palpatine and Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader. I really like that scene of the whole Jedi purge. Another scene I really love in Revenge of the Sith is the whole Anakin Skywalker talking to Yoda, where Yoda tells Anakin what he needs to hear. Yoda is basically telling Anakin that death is just a natural part of life. Basically, Yoda is telling Anakin that attachment leads to problems, and in Anakin's case, it did lead to problems. Anakin being attached to Padme eventually led to the Empire. So I really love that scene with Yoda and Anakin, and Yoda telling Anakin to let go of all he fears to lose. So then you have Palpatine telling Anakin what he wants to hear, and you have Yoda telling Anakin what he needs to hear, and so that shows Anakin's fall to the dark side. Palpatine giving Anakin what he wants to hear. So then that whole conversation with Yoda and Palpatine leads to Anakin's decision here to help Palpatine instead of Mace Windu. Remember when Palpatine is shooting Force lightning and Mace Windu is deflecting the lightning back with his lightsaber? This to me really shows. This to me is like the end of Anakin Skywalker. This shows that Anakin Skywalker is pretty much done here, and he becomes Darth Vader. So I really love that this scene is kind of a homage to Return of the Jedi. Remember when Palpatine is electrocuting Luke, and then Anakin has to decide between Palpatine and Luke, and he chooses Luke. Well, in this scene, Anakin has to choose. The only reason why Anakin actually helps Palpatine is to save his family, is to save Padme and his unborn baby, and his child. So the reason why Anakin falls to the dark side is to save his wife, his pregnant wife. So I really love this scene with Mace Windu and Palpatine, because it really shows that Anakin's conflicted. He doesn't want Palpatine to succeed, but he doesn't want to help Palpatine. But the only reason why he helps Palpatine is to pretty much save his family. So I really love that George Lucas really showed us that, you know, Anakin's a good person. It's just the reason why he turns to the dark side is to save his wife, and this scene perfectly shows it. And I love the fact that Mace Windu is the reason why Palpatine's deformed, and I love Mace Windu's death. I just love this whole scene. This is like one of my favorite scenes in Revenge of the Sith. It's just the way it's just so well done. Anakin's choice, and this to me is Anakin's complete fall to the dark side. And it really explains why men turn to evil. Men do what they do for love. They do it for protecting their family, for their women, for their wives, and stuff like that. And I really love the fact that Anakin Skywalker turns to the dark side to save his wife. I just really love the way how Revenge of the Sith showed it. It's just a really really love Revenge of the Sith. I think it was a brilliant movie, and I really like the fact that it ties together nicely with Episode 4. It like leads up to Episode 4 with the deliverance of Leia and Luke, to Leia to Alderaan, and Luke to Tatooine, to his parents or to his aunt and uncle in Tatooine. I really like that. I really like that scene. So if you haven't seen Revenge of the Sith, if you're a viewer of my YouTube page and you haven't seen Revenge of the Sith, go watch it. You don't necessarily need to watch 1 and 2. Just watch Episode 3. It really explains Episode 4, 5, and 6. It's an excellent scene. It's an excellent movie.